Hello and welcome to the State of the Fleet Industry, a weekly video series produced by Automotive Fleet magazine. I'm Mike Antich, editor of Automotive Fleet, and today I'd like to examine what's occurring in the fleet industry for the week of November 21, 2022. And for this week's episode, I'd like to discuss a recent NAFA Pacific Southwest chapter meeting, which was just held last Thursday at the Los Angeles Auto Show. The meeting featured 9 presentations by OEM fleet representatives who updated us on new developments within their product portfolios and new models that were being introduced at the Los Angeles Auto Show. But the big takeaway from the NAFA meeting was the announcement by several major OEMs during their presentations that fleet allocations will carry over to the 2024 model year fleet ordering. And the decision to carry over fleet allocation restrictions to the 2024 model year was somewhat expected. Anecdotally, there continues to be an ongoing series of unpredictable supply constraints, and it appears that the current end user demand plus the growing volume of pent-up fleet demand on top of that could potentially exceed fleet allocation for the 2024 model year, especially if there's no downturn in the economy and retail sales remain steady. And plus, it just didn't seem realistic for the industry to revert back to a free flow fleet ordering environment because it would invariably lead to early closures of fleet order banks, similar to what happened at the start of the fleet ordering for the 2023 model year. And if you remember, that was a pretty chaotic time. I believe it's a positive development that model year 2024 fleet ordering for some major OEMs will once again be based on a pre-approved allocation volume. And some might disagree with me, and I understand why. Admittedly, many fleets will not get all of the vehicles they need based on past experience with an allocation system. But it's better than being on the wrong side of an unexpected early closure of a fleet order bank. So, in a fleet allocation environment, most OEMs require pre-approval to place orders based on an allocation determined by a fleet's past order volumes. And here's an example of an allocation process for government fleets looking to order the all-new 2023 model Ford Super Duty. So the Ford Super Duty will have a short model year with only a limited number of trucks being produced for the 2023 order cycle. So, for example, the order banks for government orders for the 2023 Super Duty will open next Monday on November 28, 2022, and they're going to close on January 13th, 2023. Each government fleet with a Ford FIN number, a fleet identification number, gets an allocation based on their average Super Duty purchases over the past 5 years. The actual allocation will be approximately 55 to 60% of whatever that average number is. And it's not uncommon for most OEMs to restrict fleet order allocations for their legacy customers. In fact, fleet availability being as tight as it's been for the past 2 years has found that most OEMs are not soliciting new fleet customers. So when you look at the ordering environment from a historical perspective, the transition to a fleet ordering allocation system has truly been a significant milestone that's never before happened in the history of fleet management. The last time end user demand exceeded production capacity was immediately after the conclusion of World War II. As auto manufacturers stopped Ford production and switched back to the production of automobiles, end user demand simultaneously spiked, primarily driven by the discharge of 12 million military personnel back to civilian life. And this unprecedented end user demand exceeded the production capacity of the vehicle manufacturers of that era. And in today's market, for the past 2 years, end user demand has likewise exceeded fleet availability, frustrating fleet managers when fleet order banks close early and unexpectedly. So, in light of that history, and to try to bring fairness and order to the fleet ordering system, General Motors took the lead by implementing a controlled allocation system in the 2022 model year. And the purpose of the controlled allocation system was to bring order and a sense of fairness to the fleet vehicle ordering process, which had become a free-for-all as companies scrambled to submit orders to secure limited fleet inventory as soon as possible prior to order banks closing. Plus, the introduction of an allocation system also eliminated the fear that mega fleets could buy out sizable segments of a manufacturer's inventory, especially in vehicle segments that had limited model availability, such as the commercial van segment. Today, Almost all OEMs require that you place fleet orders through an allocation system that's based on a variety of criteria ranging from your past historical ordering volume to how long you've been a customer of the OEM, along with other criterion that are developed in consultation with the OEM fleet account manager. So one consequence to the allocation system is that many OEMs are reluctant to accept new fleet accounts because they need all of their production to meet the needs of their longtime legacy customers. So recognizing that this occurs and recognizing that the fleet allocation system will be carried over to the 2024 model year, it makes it crucial for fleet managers more so than ever to plan early. An OEM allocation approval system is primarily designed for high demand fleet models. With this in mind, when you begin planning for your 2024 model year acquisition needs, you'll need to speak with your OEM fleet account manager even earlier than ever. You should never take your OEM allocation for granted. Also, in a fleet allocation environment, it's important to get your own internal approvals, in particular for fleet budgets. You need to get this done quickly so you can get the OEM allocation approvals as soon as it's possible to do so. And as always, it's important to order early to get your orders into the pipeline as soon as possible. An important consideration is that the ordering environment that we're experiencing today and have been experiencing for the past 2 years will most likely persist in varying degrees for the next several more years. The existing volume of pent-up demand promises to impact future new vehicle ordering. So to put it in context, since 2020, the combined retail and fleet markets together have a backlog of approximately 5 million vehicles. And the whittling down of this accumulated industry-wide pent-up demand on top of the industry's normal replacement volume will be a multi-year process. So with this as my final observation, I'd like to conclude my State of the Fleet Industry presentation for the week of November 21, 2022, and I'd like to thank you for watching.